This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, Rabbi Glatstein, Parshas Terumah. We mentioned last week analyzing the structure of Tefilla. So I mentioned a beautiful observation of my brother, and now I want to elaborate further. We look at the structure of Tefilla, and we know that davening as an introduction to Psukei de Zimra, right before Psukei de Zimra, we say the Brisa of Rabbi Shmuel Omer, B'shalosh esrei midos ha-Torah nidrashes b'hem. We mentioned Yud Gimel midos that the Torah is darshaned with. And we pointed out, why is that mentioned in the davening? We're not about to darshan sukkah, we're not about to expound, we're not about to learn Gemara. This is, Tefillah is about asking for rachamim. And we brought the idea quoted by the Bnei Yissaschar and the Malbim at the end of Parshas Bahaloischa and the Sefer Eretz Chemda, that the Yud Gimel midos ha-Torah nidrashes b'hem correspond to the Yud Gimel midos harachamim. Then it would be most appropriate to begin davening with Rabbi Shmuel Omer to be merames to the 13 attributes with which the Torah is expounded with, which are ma'orer, the 13 midos of rachamim. Okay, then we pointed out that if you look in Baruch She'amar, Baruch She'amar has 13 baruchs, right? We counted the 13 baruchs of Baruch She'amar, and we pointed out from the Zohar HaKadosh that there are 13, from the Pri Etz Chaim, that there are 13 baruchs in Baruch She'amar. Baruch She'amar v'hayolam, Baruch Hu. Baruch Omer v'oisa, Baruch Gozer M'kayim, Baruch Oisa Bereshus, Baruch Merachim al Aretz, Baruch Merachim al Abrios, Baruch Meshalem, Baruch Chai Lo'ad, Baruch Poideh, Baruch Shemoy, Baruch Atah Hashem, Baruch Atah Hashem, Melech Muhlo Batishbachas. 13 baruchs. Interesting. We also pointed out that the minhag is to hold the front two tzitzis during Baruch She'amar. So I think I mentioned maybe that it's not brought down to kiss the tzitzis.
Some do.
So it's interesting. The Arizal does not say to kiss the tzitzis. Neither does the Aruch HaShulchan. So I got an email from South Africa that the art scroll says that you do kiss the tzitzis. So actually, it is correct. The Mishnah Berurah does bring it down, although there would not seem to be a makar for it. But I don't think you need a makar. But I also don't think you have to kiss them. It's maybe a chibuv hamitzvahs. The ikar thing is to hold the tzitzis, and we offered, since we're saying 13 baruchs, the tzitzis also have 5 knots and 8 strings, which are 13. But let's add a point. That means there are 13 baruchs. Says Aruch HaShulchan, let me tell you a chiddush now. Says Aruch HaShulchan, amazingly, there are 13 parts of Psukei de Zimra. What are the 13 parts of Psukei de Zimra? Number 1, Hoidu, Mizmar L'Soida, Yehi Chavoid, Ashrei, the 5 Halalukas, Baruch Hashem Le'olam, Vayevarach David, the Charais, Shiras Hayam. 13! So for each part of Baruch She'amar is the bracha on the 13. So for each one of the... Now, Baruch She'amar is the bracha on the 13, but for each one of the parts of Psukei de Zimra, you say another bracha. Baruch She'amar, Baruch Hu, Baruch Oisa. There's a baruch for every part of Psukei de Zimra. Now look in the Mishnah Berurah. Mishnah Berurah says, you're not to be mafsik in the 15 praises of Yishtabach. Shiur, Shvacha, Hala, V'zimra, Oiz, Umemshala, Netza, Kedula, Agvura, Tila, B'severis, Kedusha, U'malchus, Brachas, V'aydois. But look in the Chayei Adam, he says 13. Look in the Zohar says 13. So it comes out, Oyam V'noira, 13 baruchs of Baruch She'amar, 13 parts of Psukei de Zimra, 13 Shvachim and Yishtabach. Look in the Shemona Esrei. How many brachas are in the Shemona Esrei? Besides the first 3 and the last 3? How many medium brachas are in the Shemona Esrei? 13! Don't walk here. No, I can't.
You could sit here, I'm not sitting there. 13! Why 13? We charge for standing there. Why 13? So it's interesting. Now we have successfully shown the structure of the davening. 13 Yud Gimel midos ha-Torah nidrashes b'hem. 13 baruchs in Baruch She'amar. 13 parts of Psukei de Zimra. 13 shvachim in Yishtabach. And 13 brachas in Shemona Esrei. So my brother said, what's the reason why we say Psukei de Zimra before Shemona Esrei? Because la'olam yisadar adam shvachav v'yachar kach yispalel. A person should always arrange his praise and then daven.
So there are 13 praises for each of the brachos of Shemona Esrei. Each request that we say has another praise. And then, of course, in Nusach Sfarad at least, we actually say, Yud Gimel Midos Shahad Torah Nidreshes Bahem. Okay, that's what we said on Friday with a little bit of an addition. So our good friend Rabbi Avichatzeira showed me in the Chidushim of Rabbi Yaakov Avichatzeira, the Abir Yaakov, the grandfather of the Baba Sali, he points out something incredible. But then I started looking in the Chidushim of Rabbi Yaakov Avichatzeira, and he says something even more amazing. How many times in this week's Parsha does it say Terumah? So Rashi says 3 times. Well, the first time it says Li Terumah. Li Terumah, with the letters, is Gematria 698. Gematria Hi Arvis. First Tamarav, that's the first Tefillah. The second time it says Es Terumah Si. What's the next Tefillah? Shachris. Gematria Zu Hi Tfilas HaShachar. 1457. The third time it says V'zois HaTerumah. Zois HaTerumah Im HaKoilel. Begematria Zu Tfilah Shel Mincha Bizmana. 1065. So these are the 3 tefillahs. Terumah 3 times. Marav, Shachris, and Mincha. Okay. Interesting. Now we know that every tefillah has to be centered around what? Has to be centered around the Yud Gimel Midos Shah Torah Nidreshes Bahem. Yeah, good or no? Good. So yeah, have a seat. Yeah, good. Yud Gimel Midos Shah Torah Nidreshes Bahem. What's the what? So why? It has to be set because the inyan of the tefillah has to be focused on this pattern. So in this week's Parsha, where it tells us about the 3 tefillahs of the day, what are the 3 tefillahs of the day? The first time it says Li Terumah Gematria Hi Arvis. Second time Es Terumah Si Gematria Zu Tfilas HaShachar. Third time it says V'zois HaTerumah Zu Tfilah Shel Mincha Bizmana. So now the Torah is giving us the secret. And what's the secret? Now that Rabbi Yaakov Avichatzeira says in the Sefer, what? Machsoif Halavan. Comes Rabbi Yaakov Avichatzeira in the Sefer, Pituchei Choisam, and he says, what's the secret of the 3 tefillahs? Zahav, Kesef, Nechoishes, Tcheles, Argamon, Toila Shoni, Sheish, Izim, Aros Elim Adamim, Aros Techoshem, Atzei Shitim, Avnei Shoyam, Avnei Miluim. 13. Very good, 13. Why? Because that's telling you the secret of the 3 tefillas hayom. The secret is the number 13. Now, one last thing, and then we will end off. Says Rabbi Yaakov Avichatzeira, Al Pi Arizal, there are 4 main parts of davening. There's before Psukei de Zimra, which is Olam HaAsiyah. There is Psukei de Zimra, which is Tfilas HaYitzira, Olam HaYitzira. There's Berchas Kriya Shema, which is Olam Habriya. And then there is Shemona Esrei, which is Tfilas HaAtzilas, Olam HaAtzilas. We know that there are 4 worlds. The 4 worlds are Abia. Abia is Atzilus, Bria, Yitzira, Asiya. These are the 4 worlds. They correspond to the pasuk in Yeshaya. Kol Hashem Asa L'chvoidai Asisiv Barasiv Yitzartiv. That is a reference to the 4 worlds. Before Psukei de Zimra, you're in the first world. What's that world? Olam HaAsiyah. Each world has to have 13. What 13 does the first world have? It has the 13 of the Brais of Rabbi Shmuel, Yud Gimel Midos Shatayr Nidreshes Bahem. Then Psukei de Zimra. Psukei de Zimra is Olam HaYitzira. What are the 13 of Psukei de Zimra? The 13 baruchs of Baruch Sha'amar. And according to the Aruch HaShulchan, we could add the 13 parts of Psukei de Zimra. Now this I don't quite get, because he says, and what is the 13 of Olam HaBriya? So this is interesting. He says the 13 shvachim of Yishtabach. Yishtabach is still in Psukei de Zimra, but I guess it's right before Berachas Kriya Shema. So that's the 13 of the Olam HaBriya. And of course, the 13 brachas of Shemona Esrei correspond to Olam HaAtzilas. So now we see, first of all,
understand that Apila Ari, there are 4 parts of davening. Number 1 is before Psukei de Zimra, that's Olam Ha-Asiya. There's Psukei de Zimra, Olam the first, before Psukei de Zimra is Olam Ha-Asiya, Psukei de Zimra is Olam Ha-Yetzira, Berachos Kriya Shema is Olam Ha-Bria, and Shemona Esrei is Olam Ha-Atzilus. That's why, when you're about to leave Olam Ha-Atzilus, which is the highest realm, what do you say as the last thing? You say a remez to your name. Because you don't want to forget your name. In this world, you're not going to forget your name. You're afraid upstairs you're going to forget your name. So therefore, when you are upstairs on the highest realm in Shemona Esrei, at the very end, when you're in the Olam HaAtzilus, that is the correct part and time to say your name. Okay, so that concludes this segment. 3 times Terumah, each time is a different Tefilla, and the side is the 13 donations, which is the secret of Tefillah, the number 13. Rabbi say, have a great day.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.